Before we start, I want to make sure I acknowledge who's with me up front. I have Lonnie Robbins, our Chief Administrative Officer, who is certainly familiar with county procurement and the vending machine regulations that we have. Also, John Bird is here, who is the Director of our Department of Recreation and Parks, the department that does the vast majority of our youth-oriented programs. So I wanted to make sure they were here with me today to answer any questions you might have. We're here today to talk about good governance. Council Bill 17 applies to vending machines on county properties, including this building, and to the county's youth-oriented programs operated by Recreation and Parks and other departments. Trust and freedom. I trust Howard County residents and Howard County employees to make their own decisions regarding what they eat and drink. And I disagree with the approach that was taken by the County Council. I support the government making and playing a role in encouraging healthy lifestyles. I do not support government mandates and restrictions. This should not be in legislation. Standards do not belong in the Howard County Code. Legislation versus education and outreach to change lifestyles is not the way to go. We should have education, we should have outreach programs, but not legislation. Actually, NIH research demonstrates that education and outreach programs are effective in changing personal behavior. And it reminds me of that old adage, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. We can have mandates, we can have bans, and that might make people feel good, but the only way you're going to change folks, the only way you want to make people better is by changing them in how they look at their healthy lifestyles and encouraging them to live a healthy lifestyle life. And I am taking the lead. Tackling obesity and related health issues through education and outreach is more likely to produce results. I am coordinating an effort to bring community partners together to prepare a comprehensive plan on how we can encourage healthier lifestyles. Mike Drummond, who chairs the Howard County Community College Challenge Race, will be assisting me. The race creates a friendly competition to encourage people to train for and run 5K races. They also are encouraged to eat better and to have more physical activity. I've also been visiting county camps along with Mr. Bird this past week to encourage physical activities for kids. Kids appreciated the message, and I think with the right encouragement, we can really make an impact there. The other issue here is the whole idea of having legislation as opposed to regulation. Nutritional standards evolve over time. We've heard before non-fat versus low-fat, saturated versus non-saturated, diet drinks versus non-sweetened beverages, portion control versus calorie counting, butter versus margarine, which is one just now recently. Everyone thought margarine was the best way to go. Now people say, no, go back to butter. Rhona Martirian, who is a nutritionist, she says, and she agrees, that nutritional guidelines are not the same for adults and children. She has over 40 years practicing as a dietitian and nutritionist, including for seniors and government programs. Unfortunately, she's teaching a class to seniors in Baltimore City at this time, so she couldn't be here, otherwise she would be. But in your package, you have a letter from Rhona talking about her concerns about this legislation and how it's better to teach people to have a healthy lifestyle than just to mandate and put things in legislation that, of course, will have to be changed over time. Also, I think it's important for people to realize that there are already existing COMAR, which are Maryland regulations, and guidelines that already have strict adherence to and require healthy alternatives be provided to young people. And those guidelines are in regulations, not in legislation. Also, I think it's important to note, I've talked to Mr. Bird here, and he tells me after 22 years of being at the Department of Recreation and Parks, he cannot recall one time where a parent has come to him to complain about the snacks that are being offered at the youth-oriented programs. So frankly, folks, this is a solution looking for a problem. There aren't parents in Howard County saying we need to have stronger guidelines and stronger restrictions for our youth-oriented programs. They're just not out there. This is something that's being made up. Right now, they're being followed by the state regulations in the proper way. There's also an impact on small business. I actually agree with the Chamber of Commerce, who fought this bill, who said this bill should not go into effect, and that it's harmful for small businesses. Restrictive guidelines for packaged food and beverage placement will make it extremely difficult for the county vendors to comply. Also, what's interesting, if you look at the bill the way it has been passed, placed restrictions on very healthy items. Vitamin water, you couldn't use that under this bill. Gold Peak iced tea, you couldn't use that under this bill. And many of the honest tea products, which are put out there as very healthy alternatives, would not be able to be used under this bill. This bill does not represent good governance. This bill impact will be minimal. The precedents it will create an obligation in the future. This bill provides lip service to the issue of improving health outcomes, and it misses the mark. And for that reason, I feel compelled to veto Council Bill 17. Now, I noticed that the council sent me a bill that doesn't have an option for veto. Pretty interesting, huh? So we'll have to cross out where it says approved, and we'll write vetoed. And I'm signing it on July 13th. Vetoed. Now, I invite the County Council to work with me and the administration to develop educational outreach programs to address the obesity issue and improve healthy outcomes. That's all the comments I have prepared. I'd be happy to open up to any questions you might have. Anybody?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk more specifically about this comprehensive plan?
No, it's Mike Drummond has been working with other community partners. Our transition team. I got the transition report in the middle of March. They suggested that we have community partners come together to develop a comprehensive plan to deal with obesity and population health. And so we were in the middle of the budget at the time. And in fact, the County Council didn't even allow any of my legislation to go forward to them in May. So right now, Mr. Drummond's putting together a group of people to look at that. I'm encouraging him to get folks from all different areas of the community, along with government officials, to work on that. So that's basically what he's doing right now, and I think he's a great person to do that because he's the one that basically started the Howard Community College Challenge to really encourage healthy eating and exercise for the students there.